Folks, it's Sitting Bull. All right, so what are we doing at Sitting Bull anyway? What's going on during the pandemic? First project is this window. I had a piece of ooh, baby, nice. I just did that. Piece of trim that was completely rotted. All of this needed to be painted. And what we're going to do is we're going to go after the top piece, which I caused in trying to solve one problem. I caused another, and I ripped out this chunk of wood, so that's going to have to get replaced. And I have a piece ready to go for that. And then down here, this is a favorite spot. You're probably wondering, so why the fuck is this so rotted out? And we got this thing that, you know, Fred built, which is nice. It works. However, if you look up here, man, this is the spot. This is the problem area. You got a gutter and you got a piece of wood behind it that is, you can put your finger through it if you push hard enough. That's a 2.5 foot 1x7, and then there's a 12 foot 1x7 that runs all the way down the length. That whole thing, most of it is toast because of the fact that Sherm, when he put the gutter up there, he didn't quite think about how the water was going to drain off that roof line. On this roof line, he got it right. This roof line is fine. It's more of a newer roof line with more overhang. This one has no overhang, and the water just goes right around the edge and goes right down the side of the wood, and it just fucking destroys it. So that I'm inclined to get rid of that. Next thing, next project area. All I gotta do is look. This whole thing right here was all rotted out completely. Right over here, it was all toast. So I cut a piece, and I made this by hand. This little angle right here, it's a 2x4 with an angle on it. Put that on. That wasn't that easy, but whatever. Try that. Here's a new concept right here. It's a test pilot concept where we're taking this piece of trim, and instead of just painting it, I'm putting just a coat of polyurethane on it, just a light coat of spar urethane. Most people don't do that, but if you can make it look halfway decent, and it does, I think it looks really quite good. It's not too shiny, it's not too weird. Then that's that. Over here, oh yeah, it just goes and goes. This whole thing needs to be painted. The entire front, actually the whole thing needs to be painted, stained. And the good news is these pieces of trim I think are totally salvageable. They just have to be sanded and stained. And if we get aggressive, we could even polyurethane them just to give them another 15 years of life. So here's what this place looks like on one side. Here's what it should look like over here, which is what I did last, and Russ and I worked on that piece of trim up there. I think that thing looks good, actually. I'm gonna go take this off today. I'm gonna make a plunge cut with my cutter, my cutting tool, and I'm gonna take that off and replace it to get rid of this little wood rot, which will grow like a bastard. And you know, this is the old part of the house. This window looks pretty good, although this big piece of wood underneath here looks kind of crazy, and I don't know. Not sure what to do about that one. This is the newer part of the house. All this stuff all it needs is sanding and staining. This piece of wood right here, same thing. So all this stuff, just sanding and staining is going to do it. There may be some replacements that are required. Not too many though. This is all just looks like shit. Just needs to be cleaned up. Especially over here is a classic case. Newer part of the house just needs to be sanded and stained. And it's going to be fine. Now over here, 30 years later after Fred built it, what I'm going to do today is I'm going to take this piece of wood out. I'm going to go in there with my plunge cutter. I'm going to cut that bad boy out of there, and I'm going to have to rebuild this piece of wood, this little piece of trim, it's just pine, and I'm going to change that.
This is a new piece of wood that was put on 3 years ago. This one's been on for 30 years. This is coming off today. See ya.